Hello cardboard lovers, it's Cardboard Badger here. I hope you're doing well, and today we have for you the final day of Ikoria Lair of Behemoths spoilers. Over 100 have dropped today. We're not going to go through every single one, but we are going to have a good look at the remaining lands. We are going to go through the artifacts, we're going to go through the rares, the uncommons, and a few choice commons from each of the colour pie. So we will get straight into it. As far as the lands are concerned, we have all the tap lands that give you 1 life. So we have Tranquil Cove again, Thornwood Falls, Swiftwater Cliffs, Scour Barrens, Rugged Highlands, Jungle Hollow, Dismal Backwater, Blossoming Sands, and Bloodfell Caves. In addition to that, we have Evolving Wilds again. That is back. And obviously that is pretty good because it will allow us to search for those fantastic lands, the tricycle lands that are in this set. So those are the remaining lands for Ikoria. Next, we're going to have a look at the artifacts. There are 3 left. Starting off with Springjaw Trap for 1 mana. We have an artifact. It has flash, and for 4 and tap it, you can sacrifice the trap, and it deals 3 damage to any target. We also have Sleeper Dart for 2 mana, another artifact, and when Sleeper Dart enters the battlefield, draw a card. And you can tap it, sacrifice the dart, and target creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. And the artwork on the next one's absolutely fantastic. We have Adaptive Shimmerer. It's an insect. Why did I think it was an artifact? I apologise. It's 5 mana, which is pretty mad. It's got flash. And Adaptive Shimmerer enters the battlefield with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. So, although it is an absolutely beautiful card, I really don't know what on earth is going to be done with it. It's 5 mana. It makes a 3/3. Yes, it has flash, but 5 mana. I'm sure we can do something a lot more productive with our mana than a 3/3 insect. But as I've said before, beautiful artwork, and I think this is going to look absolutely amazing in foil. Up next, something truly terrifying. Yorion Sky Nomad for 5 mana, 3 and then 2 hybrid. White, blue, white, blue. We have a bird serpent with flying. It is a 4/5, and it can be a companion. If you want this bird serpent thing as your companion, your starting deck contains at least 20 cards more than the minimum deck size. So if you are happy to have over 80 cards, then this could be yours sat at the side for 5 mana, and when it does enter the battlefield, you can exile any number of non-land permanents you own and control, and return those cards to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. So it's a bird, it's in blue-white, it's a flyer, it can have lots of pumps from all the other flyers, and you can then scoop everything up and put it back down at the end of your next turn, triggering lots of more horrible things and stealing opponents' goodies. I'm sure we're going to see this. It looks pretty disgusting. I do like the artwork though. Up next we have Titan's Nest for 4 mana. 1 black, green and a blue. We have an enchantment with, at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may put that card into your graveyard, and then you can exile a card from your graveyard and add a colourless mana, and spend this mana only to cast a coloured spell without X in its mana cost. So this is going to give you the opportunity to have a sneaky peek to see what on earth you've got on the top of your deck, and if you don't particularly need it right in this moment, you will be able to stick it in your graveyard, maybe exile it completely, and have a little bit more mana to do something horrible. So yeah, this looks pretty good. I'm sure we're going to see it. Very nice indeed. Next we have the final Ultimatum. We have Genesis Ultimatum. 7 mana as they've all been. Green, green, blue, 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 red, red. We have a sorcery with, look at the top 5 cards of your library. Put any number of permanent cards from among them onto the battlefield and the rest into your hand. So you could be dumping out some massive, massive green trampoline creatures, maybe some flyers, who knows. But the fact that you go 5 deep, and technically you can take 5 cards for 7 mana and free cast some of the creatures, is not bad at all. Up next, we have Hunted Nightmare. For 3 mana, 1 black, we have a Nightmare. 4/5. It has Menace. So that is mighty fine for 3 mana, but we have a downside. When the Hunted Nightmare enters the battlefield, target opponent puts a Death Touch counter on a creature they control. So it's not a case of you choosing where you're going to put it. You can't stick it on one of their 1/1s. They could stick it on some 6/6 trampoline monstrosity or a bird. The only good thing we can do is, if you happen to be playing this, possibly you could be playing one of the instants that enable you, I can't remember off the top of my head, the one that takes away counters. So if that is the case, you can get for 3 mana this out, and I think an additional 3 mana. You can take away, I believe, up to 3 counters from a target creature or planeswalker. Let me know in the comments below what card that is. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that possibly is a way around this. Excellent artwork, absolutely love it. Really nice card, and another fantastic Nightmare. Plus, it's got Menace, so really, really do like this card. Up next, a card I am not as excited about. We have another of the Mythos cycles, Mythos of Eluna. For 4 mana, 2 blue, we have a sorcery, and you create a token that's a copy of target permanent. So that's pretty terrifying already. But if you spend red and green, and then obviously the 2 blue, if that was spent to cast the spell, instead create a token that's a copy of that permanent, except the token has, when this permanent enters the battlefield, if it's a creature, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So you could, technically, for those 4 mana, be able to create a token of something that's absolutely huge that will then destroy something your opponent has, and you then have 2, and obviously this sorcery will be in your graveyard, to possibly scoop up at a later date and replay or duplicate. Yes, this Mythos, the artwork again, wonderful. I would like them all. But this Mythos, I am not liking the idea of multiple token generation. It looks a bit scary. Next, we are going to go through a selection of cards, as I mentioned earlier, from each of the colour pie that look pretty interesting. Starting off with green, we are having a look at Ram Through. For 2 mana, 1 and a green, we have an instant with target creature you control deal damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control, which is nice. But if the creature you control has trample, and there are many that have, and there's many opportunities to be sticking trample counters all over the place, then the excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. So you won't be able to block it with a 1/1 Death Toucher when you've got a 10/10 trampoline monstrosity, because 9 will be going straight through. And then obviously there are many things that will enable double strike as well. So yeah, Ram Through looking pretty tasty. Up next we have Humble Naturalist. This is going to go mighty fine with Kinnan. We have, for 2 mana, 1 and a green, a human druid, 1/3, and you can tap this and add 1 mana of any colour. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell. So we can tap this and have 2 blue to help Kinnan along. Yeah, excellent card indeed, in the right deck, and it's nice to have another mana dork. Looking at red next, we have Blister Spit Gremlin. For 1 red mana, we have a Gremlin, a 1/1. And for 1 and tap it, the Gremlin deals 1 damage to each opponent. And when you cast a non-creature spell, you can untap the Gremlin. So I like this. I feel this is going to be pretty interesting stuff. Very, very nice with Torbrand, because then we'll be tapping it and the Gremlin will be doing 3 damage. And obviously, if we are going to play a non-creature spell and we can untap it, we can possibly tap it again. And it's a Gremlin. So very nice indeed. I'm sure we're going to be seeing this one in mono red. And another 1-drop. We have Blazing Volley for 1 red mana. It's a sorcery this time, and Blazing Volley deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. So if we do happen to be going White Weenie and making loads of 1/1 human tokens, or cats, or whatever it's going to be, the fact that Blazing Volley is going to deal 1 damage to each creature is pretty fantastic. And again, one of my favourites, Torbran. If you happen to have that out, then you're going to be dealing for 1 mana, 3 damage to each creature your opponent controls. So in the right deck, this, I believe, is going to be mighty fine. Next, we have Unexpected Fangs for 2 mana, 1 and a black. We have an instant with put a +1/+1 counter and a lifelink counter on target creature. Nice, a nice cheeky combat trick, but also to just put this on something of yours that's super large to make it a little bit larger, and obviously gain a huge amount of life, which will then hopefully trigger your deck if you're going lifelink and pumping up a lot of your creatures. So yeah, I do like this card. We also have Corpse Churn. For 2 mana, 1 and a black, we have an instant. We put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So, graveyard shenanigans. If something's already gone, we can scoop it back. I do like this card. And we also have, I love the name of this one, we've got Boot Nipper. For 2 mana, 1 and a black, we have a beast. It is a 2/1. And when Boot Nipper enters the battlefield, it enters with your choice of a Death Touch counter or a lifelink counter. So again, for 2 mana, a 2/1 Death Toucher or possibly a 2/1 lifelinker. I feel Death Touch is probably going to be the best for this beast, along with a selection of Nightmares. Yeah, fun card, excellent name as well. Up next, a card I'm not so excited to see because I think we are going to see it and it's going to go in blue-white flyers and it's going to be terrible. In fact, it's going to go in Is It as well, I'm pretty sure. We have Wingspan Mentor for 3 mana. 2 and a blue, we have a Human Wizard, a 1/3, and when Wingspan Mentor enters the battlefield, put a flying counter on target non-human creature you control. So, have a nice land-based creature and stick a flying counter on it, and off it goes. Obviously, if you flicker this in, then you can be doing this multiple times on other creatures as well. And for 3 mana, you can tap it and put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control with flying. So obviously in a flyers deck, everything's going to get pumped up, and that is going to be pretty horrendous. And then obviously we have the Ozolith. If we happen to have that as well, when everything dies, all those counters can go on the Ozolith, and then you can just stick it on one of your flyers after that. So yes and no, depending on how you like your deck and if you like blue-white flyers. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. And up next, we have Facet Reader for a bit more card draw. For 2 mana, 1 and a blue, we have a Human Wizard 1/2, and for 1 and tap it, you can draw a card and discard a card. So blue has even more opportunities to draw. Up next, we are going to be looking at some white cards, starting off with Light of Hope. Beautiful looking card. This is going to look stunning in foil. Light of Hope, 1 white mana. It is an instant. We can choose 1. We can gain 4 life. Always very good when you're about to die. Obviously, it will then trigger if you are doing a life gain deck and making all your creatures even bigger. 2, you can destroy a target enchantment, which again, super important. And also you can put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Obviously, I think the middle one is probably the best, followed by life gain. But for 1 mana, the fact that you can choose, and it's an instant, and it's got wonderful art, I like this card lots. Up next, we have another 1 mana. We have Solid Footing for 1 white mana. It is an enchantment, an aura. So if you are doing a Aura Matters and you want to have multiple auras to really pump up some of your creatures, this is great. 1 mana, it's got flash. You enchant the creature, and enchanted creature gets +1/+1. Not a huge amount, but as long as the enchanted creature has Vigilant, it assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So that could be pretty interesting. And next, the final card we're going to be looking at today. We have Divine Arrow. For 2 mana, 1 and a white, we have an instant with Divine Arrow. Deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. So a nice bit of removal. Possibly you'll be able to finish off an absolute beast that you've sucked a few damage from, and finishing off with this one. So nice little combat trick. Very nice card indeed. So there we have it. That is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. we have gone through the lands, we've gone through the few remaining artifacts, we've done all the rares, the uncommons, and we have touched on a selection of the commons. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please let us know in the comments below which was your favourite card in this particular video, and as it is the final one, let us know which is your favourite card out of the entire set and why. Is it something that you're going to be putting into a commander deck, or is it just something that you want to build around? I would love to hear your thoughts, and all I'd like to say is thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again soon here on Cardboard Badger.